That's very interesting.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Political Peasants Podcast. This episode 35 after quite a while. I'm not gonna say that we've been busy, but actually we have missed a couple of weeks here and there. But anyway, we're back and we're ready to discuss quite a few things that are currently going on. Anyways, how you doing, Kenan? Hope you're doing well.
Well, I was busy, man. I don't know what he was doing.
I mean,
He's got to go on his
obviously we
class.
both have jobs and whatnot and lives, whatnot.
Yeah, it's a
But
great two of us our job.
you know, we don't have excuses for why we did not do the podcast earlier
Yeah.
last week and stuff. But
No,
anyways,
Ray, you're going under the bus.
okay.
The bus is
Anyway,
the back tire is gonna go back over.
it is what it is, right? We're here now. We're ready to discuss the topics. Obviously, right now, I think what is trending is Joe Biden's new plan to combat domestic terrorism. And this is due to obviously what happened in January 6th after he won the presidential election, and then there was that huge protest that led to, I think it led to what was it? They led to the Capitol Hill, right? He went to
Yeah,
Capitol Hill and they tried to take over Capitol Hill, and a
they
huge
messed up the joint. A few people got shot, killed.
yeah. Some people died in the process. A lot of things we saw. You got covered back to back, right? And because of that, Joe Biden's administration had come out with a plan to combat that or anything else that might come in the future related to that kind of political violence per se. I don't know what you want to call it, right? And but a lot of us had come and think about this, like, okay, yeah, like we might be in favor of like to combat any groups that have some kind of like extreme thoughts of or some extreme ideology that use violence as a way to get to their means, right? But it seems like the way that they have um what's the word for it? The way they have explicit, detailed information in this plan is that if they get to carry out, it's gonna get to a very dangerous point where it's not just gonna be those people who, are secretly meeting and planning to
It's gonna lead
take
to
over
violence.
here. Yeah, it's not just them, those people, but other groups that they just want to criticize the government or criticize uh, the political um, spectrum on hand per se. We cannot be able, like, we cannot be able to go on Twitter and say, "Oh, I disagree with this, that, and that."
Well, right. So specifically, what it says is, so what they're trying to combat is they're trying to combat, I guess, the QAnoners. That's what he kind of talked about. Uh, they're afraid that because a lot of the things Trump said was going to happen didn't happen, like putting Hillary Clinton in jail, draining the swamp, all that kind of stuff. They're afraid that they're going to just go, like their supporters are just going to go and overthrow the government. So he
Huh.
puts them under the classification of a DVE or a domestic violent extremist. But the thing is, was also classified as, so the main thing that they talk about is ideologies that rooted in the perception of superiority of the white race. That's his word.
Mhm.
But what's also there, okay, is one where it says anarchists, violent extremists who violently oppose all forms of capitalism, corporate globalization,
Mhm.
and governing institutions, which
Okay.
they perceive as harmful for society. So that's the sentence that's concerning people because a lot of people are starting not to believe in capitalism.
Yeah.
And then another even bigger red flag is corporate global, which a lot of people actually hate in the
Yeah.
world. So
Yeah, neoliberalism.
right, and so the fact that that's now what if you believe in any of those things, you are now be considered a DVE is what's
Yeah,
causing this to happen.
yeah,
And then withdrawing even further criticism is uh, uh, AOC said in January when it was happening, when there is right after the insurrection, AOC and a few civil rights activist groups actively said that they didn't need new legislation to combat it. They already had laws on the books
yeah,
that could, but instead of instead of using those laws, law enforcement just kind of didn't do anything.
yeah,
So they're trying to figure. So they're saying that instead of making new laws, they need to find out why the authorities weren't using the law that are. And yeah, so that's the mess we're in right now.
yeah. They also
Yeah,
explicit that you have to really act. There's no need to be an act of violence,
right.
no, for you to be considered
A
a threat.
DV. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It just says ideology. They're looking for people who believe in these. They're not looking for people who act on them. They're looking for people who believe in them. Now, if you act on it, that's going to be worse for you, of course. But they're looking for people who are going to go out there and support it. Why anti-capitalism and corporate globalism is pretty suspicious that you can put that in there with white supremacy. But corruption, corruption, right?
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I don't. It's
I
just
mean, it is. Yeah, it is as dangerous as what a lot of people said about what's going to be the Patriot Act that is in place. This just reinforces that and gives them more power to I mean groups like the FBI that obviously has really like dark history going about their way and political bias in their way and whatnot,
right.
and persecuting groups that goes against their own political beliefs and whatnot, right? So in this case, if you give them that kind of power, what makes you think that they're not going to do that again?
I mean, yeah, I mean, essentially, so domestic terrorism. Well, let me say it like this.
Mm,
Uh, According to the DOJ, domestic terrorism has been the biggest issue in the United States, like pretty much for the last decade, right?
yeah.
But specifically, according to the FBI, it was right wing domestic. So they're talking about white supremacists, religious extremists, or Christian religious extremists, in this case, and people like that. But when Trump came into office, he kind of shifted the focus to add Antifa to that, right? And so now the focus have been right wing extremists plus Antifa, and
Hmm.
people who are anti-capitalism, et cetera. And now Biden kind of reinforcing that narrative is saying that yeah, these guys it's not only violent right wingers but violent left wing. But in reality, it was never really left wingers. I think they're just using this as a reason to keep that side down. Because the FBI have pretty much honed in onto the issue, which it was always right wing extreme.
Yeah.
They've been saying they literally that's the phrase they use, right wing. That's not my words, right? So this part where they just kind of add left wing into it is well, it makes sense for Trump, but the fact that Biden is reinforcing it is something that should really give people. Uh, as
Yeah,
I said, they
because there isn't really left wing extremism so far
right,
that has led us to massive shootings
right,
or to bombings or to anything taking over a specific government agency or whatnot, right?
right.
And so there's nothing to believe that we should, put that onto the details. Oh no, don't forget left wing extremism. I was like, what do you consider left wing extremism? Is
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
online uh activism? That's what you mean? That's left wing extremism?
Right, and that's really the thing, right? Because they've been trying to lump people into this for a while. Like not only Antifa but Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
where they just say, hey, they rioted for like this many days, but then like um, the reports even came out that if you because on the news they'll give you the most violent picture, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what the news does. That's what the media does. They give you the most violent picture. But when you actually saw the reports, it wasn't really that bad. Like yeah, you had like a few buildings on fire. Yeah, you had a few buildings that got broken into, but for the most part, not that much was really destroyed. That's why you never really heard a dollar figure like you would normally do, right? And but when it comes to right wing extremism, you have this insurrection. Two people got killed. You had a couple years ago when they had the what was that rally when they were carrying the torches?
Um, I think it was
Oh, Unite the Right. There you go. So the Unite the Right rally where they had like gigantic fist fight. One guy ran over a girl, killed her. He went to jail. And then, multiple mass shootings, multiple death threats,
mhm,
all kinds of stuff
yeah.
coming from like this. But like I said, it's like everyone says, if you make a tool to attack the right, they'll use it to attack the left too. Because at the end of the day, these guys want to be in the middle, and the left is a bigger threat to them. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it, but Joe Manchin, one of his calls got leaked last week,
Uh-huh.
and he pretty much saying, "Hey, he was asking his donors to help him get right wingers on his side, like Republicans on his side in the Senate, um, so that he can help get the lefties off of him." It wasn't he didn't care about the right. He didn't care about anything that had to happen. It was just we need to get the lefties off me so that I can continue to block meaningful change.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Usually that's what it is, right? They don't want to really control the extremist groups that are causing trouble because those are the people who are getting votes. That's they always could come back to, oh, you want the extremists to rise up and be in control of the government. This is
Right
what's
now,
going on right now in California, right? I don't see if you've seen the ad. I know that right now there's a current ad running on most of like Latino channels, like they're saying, "Oh, you want the extremist Republican groups to take over California." They're majorly in favor of immigration or immigrants or any type of legislation that give immigrants rights and whatnot. And they keep running that out back and forth
yeah,
because there is some kind of groups trying to take over California. I mean, there always has been. There's a lot of Republicans that live here, but they always miserably fail when they try to run because let's be honest, we live in Cali. There's so many people that are massively
I
left when here.
mean, it's not that. It's that California, everything is well, not everything, but it's you have access to a lot of things that a lot of other people don't have access to simply by being in a state as large as California. Like it's really easy
Mm,
to get internet here, right? It's really like high speed internet. It's really easy to
yeah,
get cell phone service. So you get as much information as you want. Right? The universities are well funded, some of the best in the world. So it's not hard to get knowledge in California. And when you look at a lot of the right wing policies, it's just like it doesn't. It does. It's like I said before. It's like right wing policies. It makes sense if you don't know, right? It makes sense if on a basic level, right? Oh, I
yeah,
need to. We don't have enough money. Stop spending, right? That makes sense on a basic level. But
yeah,
when you go into how countries work, it doesn't really make. And so it's like one of those things where in California, because knowledge is so available, Republicans running on like stuff like that, it just doesn't work. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a celebrity to use account.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
so
afraid of, like the Rock running or anything like that. But he does live in Florida, so
right,
but I mean, celebrities always have an advantage because obviously people like them,
and
or
they know.
yeah, yeah, they're known, and so they really put their political, I guess, who they represent in the side. It's like, I don't care what they believe politically speaking. That's the Rock. Yeah, but they just believe the image they represent. Oh, hard work, America, freedom, blah, 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 you know what I mean? So it's easy to just get yourself around that idea, and not really concentrating on the political image they represent.
Right.
Um,
But yeah, so like going back to the plan, yeah,
yeah,
it's really, it's really telling that it's how hard Biden is trying to save um, this idea that he grew up with about capitalism being the great. Um, because at the end of the day, it's showing it's the fact that he has to defend it shows you that the idea itself is flawed,
mhm,
right? Because
yeah,
if it was good, it will speak for itself.
yeah,
But when you get to the end game of capitalism, right, which is always its weakness, is being at the end. You get to see for yourself what kind of damage it's causing. I mean, hell, even now you
yeah,
have what Coke Industries and was it Blackwater, Black something like that, buying up all the houses for like cash, millions of dollars in cash that an average person would never pay for that house or could never pay for that. And they're just buying them all up. That's capitalism. So if
yeah,
you
yeah.
want your,
I
so if you
saw
want,
little banks that are trying to like. I mean, that's essentially what happened in I guess 2008 and 2009, where you had the economic meltdown, and then
yeah,
obviously Barack Obama took over, but he failed to one of his promises of, oh, I was gonna help people
yeah,
that are currently losing their homes and whatnot, and essentially he just let the banks took over and buy those houses.
and that's the thing. And they're buying it more right now.
Yeah,
And so like it's always more telling what they try to defend somebody.
yes,
And with that being said, the Patriot Act, they're still building that giant, data warehouse in Nevada. I think it's Nevada or it's Arizona. The CIA
uh,
is building a giant data warehouse that could keep so much data on you.
uh
Yeah. So it was under construction, I think, since 2015.
all I know is that okay, the Joe Biden's plan is absurd, and obviously it was gonna go over your constitutional rights and then take and if it doesn't make sense for us to give more power to them or to these agencies that are massively biased politically speaking, and the history has proved them. I mean, has proven us right, or has proven them to be in the wrong side of the spectrum all the time. So yeah, I don't think this would be ideal for us to give them power, and we should come out against us as many times as we can on
Yeah.
social media or anywhere we have an opportunity to speak against it.
And that's really the thing, man. It's like they're trying to use what happened on January 6th
Yeah,
to suppress everyone.
yeah, they're gonna try to concentrate on that alone. Oh, on January 6th, you know what happened? Then obviously they're gonna hit little things that hit home, which comes when it comes to like massive shootings, and then people are gonna be, oh, are you against massive shootings?
Right.
So why you don't support this act, or why you support this new bill, right? So they're gonna try to portray to those little things that we're very, you know, close, that it hits really close home, or
Yeah.
people who I really care about. They're gonna try to hit those little things that we all start fighting about it, and at the end they're just gonna pass it because people, most Democrats are gonna say, ah, yes, and obviously most of Republicans are gonna be in favor of it.
Right.
All right. So far, I haven't seen any major Republican had come on against it, even talk about it. Because usually when there's something good that Democrats are talking about, they will just come and try to attack it, and that's the first thing they do. It'd be something that they agree like 90%. They just don't talk about it and just like pass it,
Yeah. Pretty much.
right? So far,
Pretty much.
it seems that it's going that way. Anyways, I
Yeah.
think we have a comment right here. I think his name is Dark Sage 9117. I think he's coming. This is a movie. There's a movie coming out about Theodore Roosevelt, an interesting guy in American history, no doubt. Whatever people may think about of him, his life story is fascinating. I'm curious though, with how polarized this nation is today. If a movie about Roosevelt was to be made, how exactly can you tell his life story without going down the route of without going down the route of making people upset or angry?
Um, well,
There's just a no, go ahead.
yeah. Well, in my opinion, if you really want to tell the story of Theodore Roosevelt, without making people angry, you essentially just focus on the human side of Theodore Roosevelt. You have I think one of the most famous incidents that happened to him, which was he got shot in the chest, and he gave the speech anyway. And not only that, but the guy who shot him, the crowd was
Mm-hmm.
actually gonna beat him up, and he told him to stop, and then he asked him why he did it. The guy had mental issues. You can focus on the part where he was a conservationist for nature. He really endorsed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also you could also focus on this was a little bit weirder, but you can focus on the part where even though he was a Republican, he had what a lot of people would consider liberal values. Um, that was a little bit more wonky, like I said, because a lot of people wouldn't accept that, or a lot of people find it weird. But Theodore Roosevelt is considered one of the better presidents of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's doable. I think it's definitely doable. I think the one thing you kind of want to stay away from is probably his time as a Rough Rider. In the Spanish American War. Was it Spanish Man? Yeah, we was Spanish Man. And the war in Cuba. You probably don't want to talk about that. Even though he didn't really do anything that bad, um, I don't think that would go well in today's society. But overall, he wasn't a bad person. He was really caring. He really had a lot of compassion for people. He gave people second chance. That's why he's on Mount Rushmore.
And also social rights issues, right? He didn't do much in that section, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
you,
mean,
like you said, you could concentrate on little things he did throughout his life.
the thing
Um,
about that though is just because at the time that wasn't really a big issue for the United States as it later became.
mhm.
Um, he was president really early into the 20th century, and so he didn't really have to deal with all that stuff. Um, but like I said, you could there's many ways you
You
could.
could pick and choose, right?
But I mean, no, I mean you just focus on like his great because the things that made him a great president are essentially the things that people liked about him. And so
Yeah.
I don't. It would be difficult to tell it in today's day and age, but if you focus on it, I think people at the very least will have to respect him.
All right, then let's move on to the next topic. I guess Major Taylor has come out and
Marjorie.
demand. Oh no, my bad. I used Spanish pronunciation. Marjorie Taylor Greene has demanded Joe Biden to remove Kamala Harris, as she has signed a letter that she sent. Patient. He says right here, Marjorie Taylor Greene says she's proud to have signed a letter to President Joe Biden urging him to replace Vice President Kamala Harris in her role controlling illegal immigration at the U.S. border. Obviously, I think Kamala Harris has has been in the hot seat for a minute in the
Right.
last 2 weeks or so, as she went in a tour across Latin America to try to find ways with a lot of political leaders from that sector to find ways of how they could solve the immigration issue. Right? Obviously, Trump did this. In one way or another, he was giving a lot of aid to these countries in exchange of them trying to control their own immigration problem, right? I think one example is that I think he was giving a lot of money on in aid to El Salvador, and he talked to the Salvadoran president Nayib Bukele, who they agreed on they were going to control the issues with immigration, that they were going to instead start like injecting money into their economy. That way, jobs start coming in, and then people have an actual reason why they should travel to the United States as well. They're going to invest a lot of money on security. That way, they can control the problems with the gang problem or the massive violent problem that El Salvador had at some point. Because I don't know if you guys remember, El Salvador was, I think, the second most violent country in the world at some point, and now they have fallen very far below. They're like, they're not even close to what they were like maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So that's besides the point. But I'm just saying that Kamala Harris has done this now, has gone on a tour, and so far it hasn't gone well for her. because I don't know if you guys remember. I think this is I think we kind of we were talking about it a couple minutes ago, where she said, where she had that like I think the famous speech in Guatemala, which said the U.S. telling a lot of people do not come, right? Because I think someone asked her like, "What are you gonna tell people who want to come to the United States still?" I was like, "Ah, do not come to the United States. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. We're not gonna accept you." La la la. And like 4 months ago, she was actually speaking out in favor of immigrants' rights, that they have the right to come to the United States and seek for asylum. But now she's saying that they should not anymore. I think
Yeah, I mean,
obviously she was taking a bullet for the Joe Biden administration.
she is a part of Joe Biden,
Yeah.
but I think what it is for Democrats, this is a very tough issue to get around. It's like we kind of said it before, right? When it came to Obama, he kind of had like this idea that, oh, we need to fix immigration, but he didn't really do anything. And it
Mm,
was until it was time for like reelection that he passed the Dream Act. Well, he didn't pass the Dream Act. It was a executive order that he just kind of made the dreamers. And then I think later on became an act. But um, that's usually what happens, right? It seems like it's definitely a in a moment kind of issue for them. For Democrats,
hmm.
it's like they don't really think about it until it's like they're put on the spot about it, and then they kind of
Yeah.
like, oh well, yeah, sort of, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where um, when you get caught out on multiple angles, it's really hard for them to dodge it because in Guatemala, she's saying don't come, but like you said, in the United States, she's saying, yeah, send everybody who needs help.
Mm,
Um, and I just think it's one of those things where they can't afford to look weak on immigration if it gets bad again. Like because what ended up happening with you know the 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 giant wave of asylum seekers that was coming, they were walking through Central America, and then they finally got to the U.S. border, right? A lot of Americans thought that was like kind of like a bad thing, right? You're kind of like, whoa, what are all these people doing? But in reality, one, it wasn't really that many people, but um, when you have that kind of imagery, right? And then you
yeah.
have the vice president and the president by proxy saying all these people are okay, that's something that the Republicans are going to attack, right? They're going to keep showing that picture, they keep playing your words, and keep telling you that you were in favor of this, right? Unless you can spin it really well, which honestly I don't think they can. I mean, like you said, it was pretty black and white what they were saying in both cases. And so I just think that, it's one of those things where she said it now, she said it early, and she hopes that it goes away by the time 2024 rolls around.
Well, I mean, a lot of Republicans are still gonna bring this shit up, just because obviously she's trying to like lead on this issue when she hasn't even visited the border herself.
Well, I don't
I
think
think
she
they
visited
asked
any of the
her.
states either.
They asked her directly in front of her, "Have you been through the borders?" Like, no, but we did. I was like, "Who are you? Who do you mean by we?" Oh, the administration. Yeah, but talking about you, I was like, "Ah,
Like,
no." Like, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, she just wants to sign this task, and they telling her to kick her out from it. But even
uh,
then, like,
this is one of those cases where it's clear to see that Joe Biden won. I think this is obvious, right? Everyone knows that. Looks like the wheels of the Democratic Party is turning to make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. If they have to Joe Biden, or if Joe Biden says, "No, I'm not
she's
going to run again,"
she's a little
then
failing.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, because she's failing for our perspective, or from the Democratic Party's perspective, like the upper echelon of the Democratic Party, the donors and the lobbyists. She's doing a great job.
Oh no, yeah, obviously.
And so that's what they're doing. And so, because essentially she's almost exactly like Hillary Clinton. Yeah, really. Yeah, I mean, and that's a bad thing. I I mean, Joe Biden is all like Hillary Clinton. These
Yeah.
people are all like Hillary.
They literally say, "Oh, you don't want a white girl? Okay, fine. We'll give you the black girl, or the half white, half black girl." And she's essentially going to do the same thing.
She's Asian black.
She's Asian black. Oh yeah, she's half
uh,
Indo, right?
India, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so you see it, and it's really sad to see them floundering like this.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, I can't really fault them because
Mm.
when it comes to domestic policy, at least right now, they're on point. Am I wrong? They've been killing it in the United States.
They've been killing it.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
Democrats.
that Joe Biden.
I mean,
uh,
according to what people expected him to do, doing more than what people thought he would do. But
that means he's killing.
and huh?
That means he's killing.
Just killing it. That's why I hate when people say that. Like, why you give them props? Like, no, oh, you should. Like, I would expect you to do that. Like, surprise me if I the line is right here down below. You like maybe cross it a little bit. And I was like, oh my god, you're a god. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna applaud you. You should do that.
Yeah,
That's your job. You should go beyond my expectations.
I'll go work with politics. And so
Yeah, I understand that too.
no, so it's not that though. It's because people have the expectation, right?
Uh-huh.
There are things people need at this moment in time, and Joe Biden pretty much got all of it. He was about to fail in the beginning, and everyone was hoping he would, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the whole, oh, we're gonna say 2,000, we need 1,400 plus the 600 you already got. You remember that?
Yeah.
People were just like, bro, like, don't be this stupid this early on in your residency, right? And he was like, okay, 2,000.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, vaccines. That's everything everyone wanted.
Yeah.
That's it. He couldn't. He was about to mess it up. David. And so,
Saved it.
yeah. And so,
I don't think people are gonna get reelected because of.
And then people are saying, hey, we should help out these other countries. He said, okay, cool, we're gonna help out these other countries. It's one of those things where he's doing what people want him to do, and optically, if nothing else, it looks really good for him.
Which obviously didn't work for Barack Obama. I think it's gonna work for Joe Biden.
I mean, it did work for Barack Obama. He got elected twice.
Barely. The second time was barely got elected.
Doesn't matter. He got elected twice.
Yeah, but I understand. But he barely got elected. So I mean, Joe Biden hasn't even done that as much as Obama yet. But whatever. I mean, and they have the majority. You have 51 to 50. I mean, they could do whatever they want to. They control the House. They control the Senate.
Remember Joe Manchin's.
Yeah, right. That's the excuse they have. Either way, let's move on to something very similar. Obviously, we're talking about 2024. What we expect, who's going to run. We know Kamala Harris is getting ready for that, and they trying to prop her up. What about the Republicans? Obviously, we all thought that that at some point Donald Trump was gonna rerun and trying to run for re-election, whatever. But so far, it's just being silent, right?
Actually, he admitted, I think yesterday or was it earlier today, that he's not going to come back.
Not going to come back.
No.
Well, I mean, he's pretty much dead everywhere else. I haven't heard from him. They don't even cover him anymore. He's like old news. But anyways,
well, they kicked him off of social media.
Anyways, I don't think he wants to. I mean, you never know. Trump likes to think one thing one day and then another day he feels better. So but anyways, besides the fact that Donald Trump might be the 2024 Republican nominee, or he has that on the pocket or whatever, we know that other people also were brought up into the conversation. One of them was Tucker Carlson, who recently came out and said that he's not running for 2024. You could take that as you want to. Maybe he might change his mind. He was laughing about it, and he said that I don't think so. I don't think that's what I want. And because of that, another guy who was below him is skyrocketed to the top, even passing Donald Trump's name. I think his name is Ron DeSantis, who happens to be the Florida governor currently, and obviously we all know what kind of man he is. or what kind of leader he might be. Even worse than Donald Trump. I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
Why is that?
he's definitely dumber than Donald. Because he's Donald Trump knew how to put on a mask. I mean, that's really what gets me about. Just know how to put on a mask. Like it's not difficult. And then, but otherwise, I guess he would be exactly what public wants. Follows a lot of the money. He even threatened one time, right, that they didn't like the vaccine, screw 'em. We'll just give it to someone else, right? And that's terrible. I mean, there's just no way around it. I mean, yeah, people are gonna be upset, but as a leader, you really shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Um, but more importantly, the mask, man. It's like, come on, man. Like that's a disqualification right there. I mean, I, it looks like he's out of touch in every way. I mean, it really does. It just no matter what direction you decide to look at it, it just doesn't look like he at all. But he's pushing heavy prosecution of I forget her name, but she was one of the data analysts that was publishing the actual COVID-19 data in Florida. And he passed them like a rule that says, no, we're not going to publish the data.
Uh-huh.
And she said, no, I'm going to publish it anyway because people have a right to know. And then they arrested her for
They arrest
doing,
her.
they fired her first.
Uh-huh.
And it was, she kept doing it, right? Which she has the right to do as an American citizen. They arrested her. They found some excuse to go to her house, kick in the door, arrest her. Um, and this is in Florida.
Yeah, it's normal.
This is under Ron DeSantis.
It's normal.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Florida.
So I can't imagine him. I mean, that alone would probably piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, but I
But
mean, Donald Trump did get away with a lot of stuff similar.
that's because Donald Trump's like Ron DeSantis is not celebrity. He's just a politician.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how it would work for him because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have what Donald Trump has.
That too. Yeah, he doesn't have the swag either. And so
Yeah,
it's,
like even when he ran for governor of Florida, he had a lot of trouble.
yeah.
Remember
Because
when they said that he said the N word and they caught him and he just stood there. It's like, I didn't say that, and then just like, yeah, you did. Literally. And I read the quote. I was like, that's not me. That was you. But I remember, and it was the black guy. It was the black guy too. Remember?
yeah, but the thing is, that's well, one that's just Florida, but two, it's just he doesn't have the flag. He won Florida because of Jerry, man.
Mm-hmm.
Most like because
Yeah.
that's how most politicians win these days. And but at the end of the day, I don't know if it's gonna work on the national. I don't think he has it. Like I think the reason why he's up there is because now that Trump is not.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we just going back to the same old Republican, uh, you know, what the people would expect for a Republican to be, almost like Ted Cruz, for example. Remember, like back in the day when they had George W. Bush brother leading the
Yeah,
stage, yeah,
yeah.
Jeb Bush, and then when Donald Trump came in, he just destroyed him.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I don't even know what state Jeb was the governor of.
I mean
Yeah, it's not Texas.
they just heard Bush, and that's it. But then he got destroyed on the stage, so we don't know. We don't know. And I'm sure if Donald Trump doesn't run, you will have a lot of people like you. We saw on 2016 run again, and or I think it will be on both sides because
They,
who's gonna want to like maybe go against Kamala Harris? I'm sure some people might be up to the task.
it's gonna be hard because you really don't have Republicans with main recognition like that, like Kamala Harris. Because the thing is, see
Kamala
this,
Harris.
but the thing is, it's like a train, right? You have Barack Obama. He was the legendary one. Okay, he was the first black president. Period. The first minority president. Period. Right.
Mostly,
And so he goes down in history. Right.
okay.
But you also know who goes down in history?
Oh,
Is his administration, aka
okay.
Joe Biden. Okay? Joe Biden goes down in history with him because he was his vice president. So you can't separate the two. It could be Barack Obama first.
Yeah,
Joe,
but he was
Joe
not
Biden
gonna
second.
run for re-election.
It doesn't matter. But the point is that he's in history,
Okay.
right?
So
So he has just as much name recognition, maybe not as much, but
what? He's gonna
close
rerun?
what Barack Obama. And so whoever he picks is going to get tied to him. In this case, Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris is
That's what
already,
we thought about Hillary Clinton, and look at how she went.
but Hillary Clinton is not tied to anything.
She was the Secretary of State
Okay,
under the Obama administration.
okay.
She did pretty bad.
But
She
you remember?
lost.
But what other office did she hold? That
She was New York governor.
nope. And there you go. It's
But she's out there, right? She almost became president of the United States.
so the thing is that you know people actually liked Obama. So if people like Joe Biden,
People don't like Kamala Harris.
not yet.
People don't like Kamala Harris,
Just wait.
bro. That like she barely like the ticket of Joe Biden with Kamala Harris barely won the presidency this year.
But you got to realize they're up against Donald Trump. Donald Trump's a celebrity. Celebrities have huge advantages that politicians don't
That's
have.
what I'm saying. Imagine The Rock runs for president.
You think The Rock is a Republican?
I think he was I think he was like a libertarian and everything.
Maybe, I don't know. But the thing is
He's
that,
gonna run Republican. The best believe he's gonna run Republican.
but the point is that unless they find another celebrity like Trump or The Rock, I guess they kind of got it because
Ted Cruz.
that's what was happening with Hillary Clinton. Like when the polls were out before Trump jumped into the race, she was dominating every person in the home.
Ted Cruz.
But then Ted Cruz got stomped by Hillary. But
No, not by Hillary Clinton.
yes, and so but then Trump got in, and then Trump started dominating Hillary Clinton because Trump is a celebrity. No one cares. No, see, people knew Hillary Clinton. People didn't care about. Well, people knew Hillary Clinton because Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton because of Monica Lewinsky. But essentially, what it was is that he had name recognition, and no Republican did. And then Trump came along, and he had name recognition, so he won. That's how that worked. That he portrayed himself as the rich mastermind, which is even better. You think about this, right? When Donald Trump got on that stage and said, I paid for everyone. You even went to my wedding, pointing at Hillary Clinton, and he showed pictures. Were you like, ooh, or were you like, that didn't happen?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, it was interesting. Yeah, but we'll see. Like, I will see. Even like, let's say if the Rock runs for president, the fuck he's gonna say up there? I'm the Rock. Wake up at 5 in the morning. Wake up at 5 in the morning. Hard work.
So, look,
I'm the Rock.
He's gonna take his shit off and start flexing.
I'm sure, like because the Rock has. I mean, what he's gonna? What you gonna bring you like the Rock swag into the stage, bro?
Yes.
I'm sure, like he's gonna smile and show his pearls.
That's something.
Because he's not a well-spoken guy all of a sudden. I mean, well-spoken in a way. It's like he doesn't know much. What he knows about politics?
What did Trump know about Harvard?
But Trump at least was controversial. He would say shit like, "What are you gonna do the same thing? Are you gonna rely to that?"
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's gonna go the same route. That's what I'm saying. It worked for him because that it went with Trump. But what goes with The Rock? Are you gonna go? What? I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. You're right. Fucking Schwarzenegger. I don't know. Schwarzenegger went out there out of his way and just say a bunch of bullshit, and he got elected governor. Actually, got elected governor as a Republican in a fucking yeah, here in the fucking California. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have to do anything. Okay, let's go to I guess our last topic of the day, and that has to do with guns. Believe it or not, Texas has passed a constitutional carry law where they say, look, you no longer need permits to carry weapons, and most people say, I don't even had a permit, and I still carry my fucking gun. Right? It's Texas, right? That's what people say. It's Texas. Like it makes sense. But the constitutional carry law just says that now you can carry your weapon without permit. It's not in public schools, school grounds and whatnot. They're not allowed to carry the weapons there, even if these like schools went by or not, got signed. And also in private areas where they said no guns allowed, you can also no carry your weapon inside those premises and whatnot. And also, there's a silencer thing, right? Where they say that if you purchase the silencer in the state of Texas, you can carry the silencer. But there's a lot of federal trouble when it comes to that. Explain,
Yeah.
Kenneth.
And there you go. That's the law.
That's a lot.
That's good. No, okay. So essentially, this constitutional carry law is it's supposed to let you carry a gun in public places without a license. However, it does not give you the same protections as having a gun with having a license will give you. Right. So if you have a license, walk into a private business, wanting you to leave, then you can say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll leave," and they can't charge you anything. Don't have the license. Even if you leave, they still charge you. So that's one. Two, if you can't, like it's like you said, you can't without with the license you could carry the gun pretty much anywhere in Texas. But without the license, you can't carry it. As I said, on private property, you can't carry it on what school campuses, right?
Yeah.
College campuses, yeah. So that's still when it comes to the silencers, um, even though the law says it's not regulated by the federal government, it doesn't work that way. Uh, the police in Texas probably won't do anything to you
Mm-hmm.
if you have a silencer made in Texas.
Yeah.
But the federal police can still get you. ATF can still arrest you and fine you for having that silence. And if you're a business owner, does that the government can still revoke your license. So even though the constitutional carry law is there and it says a lot of things, it doesn't really change that much. It just pretty much says, hey, let's say in Texas you can walk around with a gun.
It says Tony B on YouTube says you should be allowed to carry a gun in school. We all know why not. We've seen what happened. He's drunk.
Yeah. It's more of a flex law. Maybe they passed it because they thought because they can. Maybe it gives them brownie points from somebody. But other than that, it doesn't really do much. Like, if you're a business owner, you don't want to follow this, or you risk losing your license. You're even a gun owner, you don't really want to follow this. I mean, a gun owner with a license. You don't even want to follow this because it doesn't. I don't think it has any impact on you. If you just have a gun and you don't have a license, you still don't want to follow it because you still get hit with criminal charges in certain circumstances. Um, really, all it is go outside and show everyone how big your gun is. I guess.
Yeah, essentially what you already could have done in Texas. There's a lot of loopholes where you could just buy a gun anywhere, but
you need a license. But now you don't.
No, you don't apparently, right? But there's still a lot of things you can get away with, right?
And then of course, the same as always, it's the businesses in Texas choose. So they could put a sign up that says no guns. You don't have a license, you walk in. They could say constitutional carry only. They could say license to carry only. They could choose what they want to allow and which one they want to allow. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's
best believe people are gonna come out and say, "Oh, no constitutional right to carry weapons." I was like,
probably gonna have some small businesses who say all guns are welcome, but chances are the bigger businesses like Walmart, stuff like that, chances are gonna say no. Yeah, and that's probably why they made the law they did that way. Yeah, because those companies in particular are tired of the mass shooting. Because if people are afraid to go outside, guess what? They're not going to go to that store. So, so they've been really adamant against these weapons. So Just
So
saying in Texas, hey, screw what you think, do it anyway. He's just gonna say, hey, we're not gonna be in
yeah.
Texas.
So that good guy with a weapon, I don't know how that's gonna work now, but because now that's the people are gonna say, right? Oh, now there's gonna be a lot of good guys with weapons out there. Yeah, like who's gonna like when you start someone shooting, who's gonna say, "Oh, I might just go, even if I have a weapon. I'm not gonna stay here and try to like battle this guy."
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, there's no such thing as a good guy with a weapon. Every story you hear about some guy shooting a guy, the police literally said that it's better if you don't pull out a weapon because then they don't know who the actual shooter is, and
Yeah,
so they'll probably just shoot you and him in the actual shooter. And it just makes a lot of confusion. So this is the
yeah,
police's word saying just walk away if you can. If you can, just walk away. Just
yeah.
don't pull out the gun. Stay out of it, and nothing
But
to do with it.
best believe that they're gonna hear a lot of issues where, you know how like we had trouble making people wear masks,
Yeah.
big businesses and employees getting in fights with customers because they don't want to wearing a mask or because it told them not to wear it. Imagine like now telling people, "Oh, sorry, we don't allow weapons in there." It's like,
Oh man,
oh,
oh man, you been saying the math like last week. There's a girl who I think it was Walmart. She went to a customer and she said, "Hey, you gotta put on a mask." He disagreed. He shot and killed her over a mask in a private property, guy, which was a store. The store is a private property. And yeah, I mean, imagine letting those weapons be there. They weren't even supposed to be there. Imagine letting them be. It's a trust. Like they don't. Like I said, this seems like it's a law that Texas lawmakers passed just because they could. Purely symbolic.
yeah, yeah,
It's just to tell everyone, see, look, guys, we don't care what the government thinks. Aren't
yeah.
we great? Yeah, like I mean, that's what it looks like.
Like
That's what it looks
cheap political points they want to gather.
pretty much. Yeah.
All right, guys. Either way, if you have any other comments of any of the segments we just cover, please leave it down below. We'll make sure to maybe bring him up in the next podcast episode. If not, then we just like we're gonna go through the comments and maybe just give you an answer there quickly. Thanks guys for watching. Stay tuned for next episode next week at the same time, around the same time, 1 o'clock, 2 p.m. Any last things you want to say, Kenneth?
Pretty solid.
Pretty
Peace.
solid. All right, go get a permit, guys. Don't.
License.
All right, then. Peace. See you next time.